On this episode of Geek Life, we're going to review the new Ghostbusters Proton Blaster M.O.D by Hasbro. Hey everybody and welcome to Geek Dad Life. It's your host, Jay Glatfelter here. I have had so much fun finding and reviewing all of this new merch for Ghostbusters Afterlife. So if you like this video and want me to do more like it, hit that like button. And if you want to see when those episodes drop, click the subscribe button and that bell icon. One of the hallmarks of the original Kenner Real Ghostbusters toy line was not only all of the fantastic action figures, vehicles, and playsets, but also those awesome roleplay toys that let you as a kid feel like you are an actual Ghostbuster with your Proton Pack, your Ghost Trap, and your Neutrona Wand. And it is great that Hasbro is following in those same footsteps by releasing a ton of different roleplay toys for kids, some that are pretty reasonably priced and some that are a little more upscale, like this Proton Blaster M.O.D. Now, there will be a cheaper version of the Proton Blaster, aka Neutrona Wand, for $15 from Hasbro. That one looks very similar, but it does not have any of the electronic features that the Proton Blaster M.O.D has, as well as these modifying accessories. It comes in an open box with the same design as all the other main retail releases for Ghostbusters Afterlife, the riveted No Ghost logo over the black and yellow caution tape, as well as the red fin of the Ecto one on the bottom with the white lettering showing you that this is the Proton Blaster M.O.D. I love the blue look of all of the roleplay accessories that they have been making for this Ghostbusters Afterlife line. It definitely has the feel and look of those classic Kenner Real Ghostbusters roleplay toys. You know, even as I have this original Neutrona Wand Proton Blaster from the old school Proton Pack right next to this new Proton Blaster M.O.D, you can see all of the inspiration they took from that classic toy from our youth. They also did a pretty good job making this Proton Blaster M.O.D look like the real thing. When you see it side by side with Hasbro's Plasma Series Spangler's Neutrona Wand, they incorporated a lot of the same features that you might see on a real prop replica right here on this, made for kids toy. So the main selling point of this kind of upgraded Proton Blaster or Neutrona Wand is that you can add these little M.O.D attachments to your standard Ghostbusters Neutrona Wand. So it has different attachment points back here on the handle, as well as on the side on this kind of red attachment right here, as well as the front of the Neutrona Wand. Now, it says you can do 10 plus, but really I think maybe half of that is kind of usable, but that's just my opinion. Your mileage may vary on that. So the two attachments you have is a trap attachment, which is kind of cool. That can go again on the front, side, or back. And then you also have this kind of additional blaster attachment that also has a little bit of Neutrona Wand that pops out of it, which is kind of neat. And that also can attach on the front, side, and back. And then these can also stack up on each other with the trap going into the additional blaster top. So when you plug it on, there's little sensors here on the tip of the blaster that know when you connect it to the device. And there's a little LED light in here that lights up either this middle section of this blaster attachment, and then also spins the Neutrona beam, even though mine I think is broken already. My kid's been playing with it, but it's not that effective, to be honest. And if you hold it too long, it shuts down just like Spangler's Neutrona Wand. So you can take that one off. And then another, so the trap attachment, its feature or play feature is you can kind of plug it to the top there. Even though the tip here isn't really that convincing as a, actual blaster, you can do it that way. But I think from what my kids and myself prefer is adding the additional blaster on top of it. And so when you have that one on, when you press the button, you actually can kind of see a glowing green light. And then you can twist it back, and then you can see Slimer in there. So, you can basically pretend that you caught Slimer with this attachment into this trap attachment, and then you can see Slimer glowing inside, which is kind of cool. So I think in general, that's probably the most usable different mods you can do to this blaster. And I'm gonna hold it down to make it stop talking. Again, if there's one big flaw of this blaster is there's no off switch. And so basically you can hold it down until it overheats and shuts off, or you can let it sit idle and eventually it'll shut off. But there's no, even though you have these fun little switches and stuff like that, there's nothing to actually turn this thing off, which again, as a parent, I think that's a big miss because it's loud and it's kind of annoying and it's very easy to hit this trigger on the bottom accidentally, which I have done several times now, which the kids have done several times now. So, you know, I've looked all over for an off switch. I have not found an off switch. And so, alas, that is a pretty annoying aspect of this device. That's my parent hat, putting my parent hat on. But even just, I think in general, it should have a way to just turn it off without having to wait too long to turn off those sounds. I guess you could take out the batteries, but again, it's a screwed in battery cap, so it's not that easy. So putting it on the front is the most, you know, I think usable mods that you can do. Now, the other fun one, I think, is putting the trap on the side. Just in terms of using your imagination, it's kind of cool to have like a trap attachment that goes off the side, which is kind of neat. And it also kind of acts as a pretty cool handle, like additional side handle if you're blasting. And then you can also just put the tip back on the top, which is going to turn it on again, I know. And then kind of blast with this kind of two-hand approach, which is kind of fun. I'm just going to hold it down so it shuts off again.
2 hours later.
You could attach this blaster as well onto the side, but it's kind of funky. You know, it's like, I guess you could blast towards the front and the side, but that would be a pretty unwieldy proton neutrino wand. You could also put it on the back and then do off the side, I guess, which is kind of weird. I kind of like imagining it as maybe like an offshoot valve, pressure valve or something. But as a two-way blaster, that's kind of weird. Same goes if you're putting it on the back. I think trap on the back is kind of neat, but the light feature doesn't work, as well as the kind of little flipping action. Again, I turned it on, darn it. The one that I probably like the least is putting it on the back end of the handle. I mean, I guess if you wanted to go Darth Maul with it and had a dual wielding neutrino blaster and blast a ghost from two different sides, I don't know. I feel like this is a death hazard, a big health and safety hazard, having the blast coming back as well as forward. But, you know, I guess that is what it is. You know, I'll say for my kids, they like the trap attachment the best because they like seeing Slimer in there. And my son Alex generally prefers just to take it all off and just use the blaster. So your mileage will vary on how effective this mod system is. So it's a neat ad, but it's not like I need to have this thing. So overall, I think there are some really cool features with this Proton Blaster mod, but overall, I think it's just a little too pricey for what we're getting here, especially when they're going to release one at half the price that looks the part, that will actually attach to the Proton pack that they're also selling separately. This one does not seem to have any attachment on it to be able to hook it to the Proton pack. But still, any Proton Blaster that has lighting up effects with cool sound effects that make it sound like you're capturing Slimer, as well as, you know, having a true blue neutrino wand blasting at a ghost, is something that any aspiring Ghostbuster or Ghostbuster fan would love to have. Definitely check out some of my other videos like this one that YouTube wants you to check out, and one of my more recent videos. And until next time, hasta luego and goodbye.